Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of my Liveryman Mustang horse clipper service. We've cleaned them up, they just need oiling and putting back together again. So I'm Simon and welcome to Oakside Saddlery. So first thing we're going to look at then is getting this case and the butts all back together again. So we want our motor, don't want our gears, we don't want any tensioners, don't want that, I'm going to have that, we don't want that, and all the little bits that we've got over here. So the bearings on these are all pretty good. We've had a check of them. They all feel okay. Motor's all been cleaned up. All the wiring looks good on there. So the first thing we're going to do is get a little drop of oil on some of these bearings. There's a little dent in the back of one of them. Don't know how that's got there. It's probably been there for years. So nice and simple. We're going to look to where that moves from there and give it a little squirt of oil. Doesn't need a lot. Just a little bit, just to help that bearings go a bit smoother. Going to remove any excess. Back to the old paper towels again. One side done, other side feels good still. So again, it's just moving down there. So a little tiny drop on that, work its way in, and again remove any excess. We don't want it all going in the wrong places. We only want it in that bearing. When these spin fast, you know it's going to throw it all out. So that side's done. This is going to sit inside here, so that puts itself into there. We've got two O-rings. These two are here. On this one, they're both the same size. Sometimes they're different sizes. So one's going to sit about halfway on there, and the other end's going to sit about halfway on there. So there we have our motor set up, ready to go. Our cases then, the motor's going to sit the bottom half. If you get this and you think, well, how does it go? Especially if you're taking the circuit board off. If you look on here, you can just see where that spring presses on there. So it gives you a little bit of an idea of which way round it's going to be. We need to put our brush tension springs on. So they just sit inside of these little slots in there. So one sits in here and one sits in. Oh, get my fat fingers going in here. Can't see it from over there. Again, that just puts a little bit of pressure on the back of them brushes when they go back together. So if we don't put them in now, I'll only forget about it when I come to put them back together and then think, save a part. So this is the side we're going to concentrate on. Condenser sits inside there. The motor's going to sit on this part here. We need to make sure all the wires are in places that we can deal with. I can see one there wants to get caught. One there wants to get caught. So we're going to slide it around until it sits itself in and is happy as it fits. Doesn't look right to me. Something's wrong. There it goes. That's better. So we've got one in there. Motor's in there. We put a bit of pressure on it whole. So again, lots of fingers, and we can see that it all turns properly, which is how we want it. This side here just sits in. That went in fairly easy for a change. They're normally a lot harder than that. Just going to sit inside there. We've got our springs and the wiring's got to go back in. So we'll put the wiring in first. When in this way, sometimes I'm going to swear at this because I should have done this beforehand and make it easier on myself, but I'm going to do it whilst it's here. If you could see my face now, you'll realise I've got my tongue sticking out because I'm concentrating. Doesn't feel right. That's better. That's neutral, the blue one in. Get that one in nice and tight. Last thing you want is a live electric wire coming out somewhere, do you? And we're concentrating our brown one, which is the live one. And that's going to sit somewhere around there. Cool, I'm proper concentrating now. Let's get my little thin pliers out in a minute. Right, wait one, just back in a sec. So I've had to get carried away now. So a little pair of pliers on there, take a wire off of that thermo fuse there. Now I can get them in a bit easier and tighten it all up nice and tight. Should be hardly any metal showing, certainly no copper wire showing at the end of that. In fact, shouldn't have any. So they're nice and tight. That's going to sit on top of there. That cable clamp's going to go on there, and that cable sheath needs to sit over there, and I need to remember to plug this back on there. There we go. And again, we're going to put our cable clamp across here, so one's on this side, tighten up on there. These are big old screws on these. One side in and the other one. Nice view of my elbow there, no doubt. Oh, I'm puffed out now doing that. So cable clamps in, wiring's all free. Got no wires caught. Wires are all where they want them to be. These ones we have to make sure sit in there somewhere out of the way. So when we put the tech case on, it's not going to get caught. Got our two springs on there. They're going to sit on top of this, and our brushes will sit in there. So at the moment we're all looking pretty good. So let's get the brushes in. So one goes in this side, they're only going one way. Press it against it, slide it up, push the casing back. Same on this one. Spring goes in there, so it'll only go in one side. Line it up, push it in, slide the casing back. So everything here is all fit and ready to go. Have a quick check on here. We have got them in. I'm going to turn it over, line it up, and all we need to do is ease it into place. It should sit in place easy. Got a nice little slot on the side of that, so if I grip it, turn the motor, I can feel that it's all good, and I haven't saved any parts. So screw goes in there, screw goes in there, screw goes in there, one goes in there, one goes in here. Back together. So back to the screw in mode. Nice and gentle with these. There's one down, I'm not going to tighten them up just yet. That one feels tight, I'm going to come back to that. That one went alright. That one's gone alright. That one goes alright. Let's just check this one again. Nice and gentle as it goes, that feels better. One down. Two down, three down, one down. The only thing they've changed with more modern ones is a different bit. This is the posi drive, so they don't grip very well in these. Digged out the other ones really, the older ones. So that's our motor side back together. Switches will work, motor feels good. Never want to turn these on unless you check this first, because if you've got something caught up, this will be jammed. So let's look at this gearbox. Motor itself then, the spindle itself rather, can turn nicely. So let's get a drop of oil on that. So we put a little dropper in there, give that a little spin round. Should feel where it goes. A lot of people see the hole on there and think it's going into that. It doesn't, it goes into the back part there, which the blades are going to go on. So that goes nicely. Can't get to the other side of there, but it's good enough. I'm going to put a little drop of oil on this shaft here, and then this one here will sit itself on top of that as well, and as it goes on, it'll take that oil in with it. We've got a spring clip to come on here. Again, all we're going to do is push that into place. He says. Oh, I didn't want to go on there. And I'm going to put a little drop of oil just at the back of that. So that as that turns, it gives a little bit of oil around that spring clip as well. Our protection plate then goes on here. Again, if we look at this, you can just see the shapes of where things were put, so we know for well it's going to sit that way around. And then we have two little tiny screws. One goes in there, and one goes in there. I don't know what the other two holes are for. They must be for some other design as well. I'll probably do other clippers and it's in the other screw holes and I don't even notice. So just tighten them up. Tighten them up. Give them a proper tighten. That's one. And the other one. So the clipper head is going to sit on here. So when this sits on here, it lines up in that hole there like that. So you can only get it on one way. You can't get them on around the wrong way. People can't put one upside down, it just won't have it. So it's going to sit like that. Got to get this back on again. So to make sure we get it round the right way, it's the screw threads that screw onto there that we need. So that's going to be on this end, so we need to put that on end first. So we're going to go on, goes into the plug. Going to go over the plug, threaded end first, take it all the way down that cable. We get to here. Once we get to here, again, it won't fit that last part. So all we're going to do is put our pressure on it. Still got a bad wrist, so this still smarts. Put some weight on there and just slide it past. And again, now it's trapped in that part there. Line it up, put the head on, just so nice and gentle. If you hold them up one way, you'll find that as it goes on there, it just lines itself up. He says, as it doesn't want to line it up. That's it. And again, just as you get to the point, it should go tight. Just get it hand tight. You don't have to do anything else with it. Should be nice and smooth on there. All feels good to go. Oh, look at the air filter. Does that make a difference? Remember what it looked like last time? Bit of a change, isn't it? Always make sure you keep this clean. All that airflow is going to get drawn in through here, and in these cases there's a little tiny hole there. They blocked all these off after we used. There's a little tiny hole there. Sometimes they're blocked off. All that airflow is going to go through that filter there, through the clippers, comes out through the side of this, blows through there, comes out backwards as well, blows out through there. So there are our set of clippers done. Let's have that little final test, shall we? See what happens. So that's them plugged in, thing switched off, power's on. Look at that, eh? So a few little tests to go. Unplugging that. I've got a pat test to do to it. That's just a case of plugging it in, see what happens. Everything else is double insulated, so there's not a lot to go wrong with it. We've already checked the cable, we've already checked the fuse. No damage to the casing. So that's the clippers done. Tensioners there, that can go back in together. Don't need to do a lot with that. Enjoyed the video. Again, hit that like button. Think about subscribing as well. Your horse clippers may be on here at some point. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. If YouTube decides to tell me I've got a comment, I might actually notice it. But otherwise, have a look at my website at oaksidesaddlery.co.uk / clippers. And if you need your clipper service, feel free to contact me from there. So enjoy your day and have a nice time. Goodbye.